Question. When you are sharing something with somebody else, like telling them a story about maybe what happened during your day or a situation that you're dealing with a family member, and you're just sharing this with somebody, you're talking back and forth, do you want advice or do you want them to just nod and validate and say, oh, that must be really hard. Oh, that had to have been difficult for you to deal with, and leave it at that? Because I'm an advice giver, and we're often thinking that we should, and I'm talking about us advice givers collectively, because I host every Wednesday a midday reset, and I was with some women and we were talking about this, the idea that we often give advice and that's looked down upon. And we get, we feel bad then. We're like, start shorting on ourselves because I should keep my mouth shut. I should keep my opinions to myself. I shouldn't give them my perspective or share my experiences that I had in a similar situation because now I'm minimizing theirs, whatever it is. And then we end up overthinking and questioning ourselves and then not forming an authentic relationship. So I'm really curious, do you want the advice or do you just want somebody to go, oh, yes, I understand that must have been difficult, or whatever it is? Just kind of mirror back to you what you're saying. For me, when I'm sharing something with somebody, I would be annoyed if you just mirrored back to me and said, oh, that must be really hard. Now, that's nice to hear sometimes when you are going through something that somebody else agrees with the fact that, you're not just being dramatic or whatever. But I also want perspective. I want a shared experience. I want somebody to say, you know what, maybe try this. Have you done that? I would probably handle it in this sort of way. But here's the caveat to that. And this is what I work really hard on when I give advice to people, whether it's in my work or just in my personal life. I give the advice without an expectation for them to take it tied to it. So I give it without the emotion involved in, well, I gave you advice and you didn't take it, or I'm going to drill this advice down your throat until I make sure that you're on board with it, because then it gets annoying no matter what. So I think that there's a fine art to giving advice, not giving too much, not giving it in a way that you're judging how somebody else is handling the situation. And maybe just give it in tidbits instead of pouring it all on at one time, given the situation, if it's something that would involve that. So I just think that there's a lot that goes into this, but especially given what I do. So I work with people and I help them figure out their personal process. I help them apply it to their life and to their relationships within themselves and with other people. I honestly don't know what to call myself. Because when you talk about coach, the idea of coach, in my mind, I think to like athletic coaches, right? You are given, the coach tells you the play. They tell you how to go about the play. They have you practice the play over and over again. Or if it's not a play, they tell you adjust your grip like this if it's a golf coach or tennis. Make sure your swing doesn't do that, but it does this instead. They're giving you very solid direction and having you go through and practice it over and over again until it becomes more natural for you, because you're trying to accomplish something. You want a specific outcome. That's why you're involved in a team. That's why you've hired an athletic coach. But in the life coaching realm, we're not supposed to give directives and tell what you're supposed to do. Anytime I talk to a life coach, they always say how they've been taught to, well, I ask the right questions to pull it out of themselves so they can figure it out within themselves. But if you do that in athletics, your team isn't going to be very good, or you're not going to get to the next level that you might want to do because you're not having somebody show you the way. So I don't call myself a life coach because I don't ask all of those questions. The questions are asked on the front end through the assessment that people take, that then I go through and I interpret and bring meaning to it for them. But I am very directive about, this is what this means for you. It is all based on the questions they were asked on the front end, but I don't dive into that part of it. Anyway, enough about that. So then I wonder, okay, should I call myself an advisor? Do I advise? Yes, I give advice all the time, but do you think of it like a financial planning advising, right? That's what I would usually think of for advisor, as a financial advisor. But again, they give you the plan. They tell you what you should do. But then you're the one who gets to decide if you're going to follow it or not. So I like that part of it, because that's the way that I try to roll, whether I'm talking to my kids, whether I'm talking to my partner, some friends, or my clients. I will give the information, and then you can decide what you're going to do with it. If you want further help from me, I'm there for you. But if you don't, then I wish you all the luck and give you all the love on your way possible, and hope that you find your way, whether you use my advice or not. So anyway, just wondering what your thoughts are, how you take it when you're sharing something with somebody, and if they offer advice, does that annoy you? If they don't offer advice, does that frustrate you? What are your thoughts?